What a cute song that is. Taking a chance on love. Anyway, I want to do a quick video on learning shit. It's not going to be quick. Not that my other videos are scripted, but this one's even less scripted than normal, so I'm going to start rambling. I just feel it. I feel it in my plums. I'm going to ramble. But I think it might be, I might have some worthwhile things to say. I might have some helpful shit to say for those who need to hear it. Basically, what it boils down to, there's people who, one of my boys just said he wanted to learn the guitar, so I sat him down and had him doing some stuff. And I was like, dude, it's not going to sound good for now. It's a difficult instrument to get started on. You know, all instruments are difficult, but piano, you can sound great. I mean, you hit the notes and they come out. Guitar's tricky. I mean, oboe or fucking trombone are going to be a million times worse, right? So, my point is this. Whatever you're trying to learn, let's skip the very, very beginning stuff. Let's say you have a little facility, right? Ooh. Yeah. Yikes. I just pulled this guitar off off my wall. It's been sitting there for like a year. But whatever you want to learn, here's my philosophy and what I recommend to people. When I learned, I wanted to be the best and the fastest and play everything, and everything I heard I wanted to learn. So I was practicing scales and arpeggios and just sitting there all day, just, you know, doing shit like that. That was horrible. But 99% of the people out there will never need any of that shit. For example, most people are going to be fine just wanting to strum some chords, whether it's like country, folk, pop, you know, stuff like. I mean, I've been playing for over 38 years now. I'm in a wedding band, a very good one, a very accomplished one, and I basically hardly play shit the whole night. I mean, like a Michael Jackson song, like PYT. That's the part. Whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sitting there playing nothing half the time. And that's my place in that band for those songs. So if you're trying to learn like strummy stuff, what you have to learn is a handful of chords. I recommend 8 chords to start for people. The caged chords, C-A-G-E-D, and then 3 minor chords, E minor, A minor, and D minor. That doesn't include B, 7, and F. If you encounter those chords, you would add those. I would also recommend getting a capo. You'll never see me using a capo. I prefer to torture myself. Which is just silly, but I just never really used one. I don't like carrying shit. I'm going off on a tangent. This video is already like 9 hours long. My point is this. Get focused on what you want to learn. If it's a simple tune, and I don't mean like, oh, I like jazz, I like rag. No. Pick a fucking tune or two. Could be a Metallica song, could be a Bob Dylan song, whatever it is. Pick it, and then you have to decipher or figure out what. And believe me, if anybody's out there, tell me what you want to learn, show it to me, and I will just text you the shit you have to learn. You don't got to take lessons. I'll just listen to it and be like, oh shit, you got to learn this stuff. You got to learn this pentatonic scale or whatever. I'm not going to sit there and spoon feed you the song, for free that is, but I'm happy to help everybody just, you know, figure out what it is they need to know to play a certain thing. That's easy. But and that goes for really difficult stuff too. Like when you listen to jazz, take any jazz tune. What's an A song? All of Me, All the Things You Are, Alone. Let's do Alone together. Um, I'm not gonna play the song. Nobody's gonna know this song, but it's like basically the melody is 1, 2, 3. So I was doing the chords and the melody. With a jazz tune, learn the chords separately and the melody separately, individually. And you don't have to learn every inversion of every chord on every string and every crazy thing. Just learn the chords. Like that song, I would do all roots. Holy shit. People think you can't play root. Oh, the bass player's playing the root. Oh, my teacher told me I can't play. My buddy did a gig with a bass player that wouldn't play fucking roots. And he wouldn't play like on beat 1. Like, can you imagine the audacity of a bass player not playing roots and then like fucking around, like not playing on beat 1 just because that week he thought it was, I don't know, not hip. Anyway, song like Alone Together. Simple. I would get through the chords, get through the melody, and then if you want to solo over it, you're gonna start working with just the chords and the melody. You're not gonna worry about scales. You're not gonna, and I'm gonna make this short. I'm not gonna try to get into an old jazz theory lesson here. But like if the chord's this, or just doing arpeggios, it would be. It's pretty. That's 90% of it right there. You don't have to get all this up. You don't need it. If you want to play bebop, you want to listen to Coltrane and Sonny Stitt and Charlie Parker, yeah, then you got to get into scales and you got to get it more into technique and practicing playing fast and clean. That's a whole different thing. You would do the same thing. You would listen to the song, get a grasp of the vocabulary, get a grasp of what the fuck you need to learn, the minimum amount you need to learn to pull it off. Again, you're not going off on a tangent. You're not trying to learn every scale and every position and every key, every chord and every position and every inversion, every fingering, every drop 2, drop 3, close voicing. You don't have to do that. You're just trying to get through it. And then as time goes on, your standards are probably gonna get a little higher. You're gonna want to dig in a little deeper, and by all means, dig away. You can dig yourself into a fucking hole like I did, and just be playing it. And I mean that's another thing. So I was getting into weird shit. I tuned my guitar in fourths. So instead of tuning it 5 5 5 4 5, I was tuning it 5 5 5 5 5. So it was symmetrical all the way across, and I was doing all these crazy symmetrical things and very horn-like lines, and it was a lot of fun, but nobody gave a shit about that. I wasn't being rewarded at all for that. The gigs that paid me and that people liked were simple. It was country gigs. I played with my buddy Jamie. It's fun music, kind of Latin music. It's a lot of triads, like A minor, F, E, E minor, C, B. Of course, there's some major 7s, minor 7s in there. There's some jazzier stuff, but it's pretty straight in key stuff. It's not so jazzy, and those were the gigs that people liked. And surprise, people don't like fucking jazz. I'm sorry. Look at album sales. Yes, everyone says they like it, but nobody really likes it. Very, very few people. It's like a trend, and I love it. I still play it, but my point is, I was sacrificing decades and thousands of hours. I'm like, I got injuries, my shoulder's constantly messed up. People developing carpal tunnel syndrome and like having all these problems, working on jazz, which is a very in-depth music and it can be very rewarding, but generally not rewarding in the financial sense. And if like, I mean, I could sit here and play a Zach Bryan tune for a chick and she's gonna love it, or I could sit here and play some Thelonious Monk and she's gonna like want to vomit. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. So anyway, at some point, it's not like I gave up on that stuff, but I was like, man, I gotta be. I'm kind of living a delusion. Like going down this road into weird town isn't benefiting anybody. And I equate it to, let's say, spicy food. You know, if you imagine every day you're just eating more and more chili. It's like, oh, I gotta eat more chili so I can tolerate more chili. And then you open up a fucking restaurant and everything's insanely spicy. And people can't stand it. They're like, oh man, can I get less spice? And you're like, you don't get it, man. You don't get the spice. So let me sum this shit up in like a minute. Decide what you want to play. If it's blues, everything is already there. Unless you want to create a whole new thing, which would be amazing. The world needs more of that, but everything's already there. If you're into Hendrix, you're into B.B. King, you're into Carlos Santana, Eric Clapton, everything's already there. So all you have to do is, figure out what chords. You might need a teacher. You might look it up. You might do it by ear, which is what I did when I was a kid, and now to this day, ear is the best, always the best. Figure out those chords, and if it's lead stuff you want to do, you'll have to figure out what scales you need to learn. And you could do that by learning the lead. You don't need to learn the scale first. For example, real quick, I know I mentioned this in another video, but when I learned Dream On and that little part where it goes, I started doing it on one string. I ran out of space, and I remember it like it was yesterday. I was on my very first guitar in my kitchen downstairs before school started, and I was like, what the fuck? How? And then it hit me. I was like, wait a second. That I could change strings, and then I learned that scale. Same thing with Joe Satriani. I was learning echo from a book, from a tab book, and the solo was like, and I was like, oh, wait a second, that's a really long sequence. It's all in the same key. I know it's in the key. So I was like, and then instead of doing this, he shifts. Which I liked. I learned it the other way with this, but like not having that big stretch there was comfortable. So that's how I learned a lot of scales, learning Randy Rhoads stuff. Now I did cheat. I did use some tab books back in the day, but a lot of them were wrong, so I'd have to correct them or like just use my ear to fix it. But yeah, it's just, you want to do, the music comes first. Whatever you want to learn, whatever you want to compose, you're writing, whatever, that comes first. Don't start just practicing scales or practicing chords randomly. Just, I want to know everything. It's not going to be that helpful. Learn what you need to know to play the songs you want to learn. If you're playing a song that has a bunch of bar chords in it and you're not used to those, you got to learn fucking bar chords. That's it. You got to put in the work. As things get more difficult, if it's shred metal, then you gotta sit there with scales and do all the stupid shit, I wanted to learn cacophony, I had to learn how to sweep pick. Whoa! That wasn't necessary for me to play that stuff, but most people aren't going to want to do that, so you don't have to do it. So, Jesus Christ, I'm at 15 minutes. Sorry, guys. I felt it in my plums, and I was right. Define what you want to learn and get very, very specific with those things. And focus on those things and no more than those things. all the jazz. You don't need to go to jazz school. You don't need lessons. You don't need to know theory. Listen to John Coltrane. Listen to Alan Holdsworth. Listen to Michael Brecker. Listen to Lester Young, Coleman Hawkins, whoever it is. If they're playing notes over a chord, or they're playing a different chord for, you know, they're revoicing a chord, everything you need is right there. You don't need to know the name of it. You know what I mean? If someone does a thing over a chord, like I would call this an approach note thing. But if I played that in a song and you heard it and you liked it, you wouldn't need to have a name. You could name it whatever the fuck you want to name it. And you would incorporate that into your own style by memorizing it, figuring, all right, that went over a minor chord, and then you play another song like maybe Footprints or Blue Bossa or something in another minor key, and you throw it in there. You force it. You practice it and you force it in. Just like learning a language, you know, you can't wait till shit happens till you have to ask somebody where the bathroom is. You practice saying it, and then eventually you go out into the wild and Donde está el baño? Is that correct? I don't remember. But just learn the bare minimum. That goes against what I used to teach. I used to over teach and want everyone to learn the modes and shit. I'm teaching 12-year-olds modes and how to create the modes, you know. It's always the flat 3, the flat 7. Bare minimum. Get through the song and learn songs. Learn tons of songs. Just any song you like, just learn it. Learn it, learn it, learn it. And learn it by ear. Thank me later. God damn it.